You look to your buddies, you look to your friends.
There's only a couple guys in the whole world that make me love pro wrestling, and you're one of them.
You know, all the bad shit you've heard about us, it's all true. But another thing that's true is we love professional wrestling, and that's why we're here. I'm not sports entertainment anymore.
Talk to him, kid. This is a new beginning, and it starts tonight.
A new day is dawning for DX.
You know who you're talking to?
Yeah, what's going on, everyone? This is XPac 12360. Yeah, I thought I'd change it up a little bit.
Yeah.
We end up getting really monotonous, like, you know, the same spiel over and over again. So, thought I'd change it up. A little bit more mellow. Anyways, what's going on, Jimbo?
You know, surviving. Tomorrow's a big day.
Right on.
Good.
So, hey, everyone. We have Bill Handstock's not here this week. You guys already know because you're here. Just telling everyone else out there. We have Scott Narber here from Wrestling Compadres.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. Thank you for coming in.
Yeah, sure thing.
And, you know, you do Wrestling Compadres, and you're telling me about a couple other things you have going on.
Mm-hmm.
You want to tell us real quick?
Yeah, in a movie with Johnny Mundo, Dave
Nice.
Made a Maze, that comes out August 18th. Yeah,
I'm wearing the Boone shirt. I love this shirt. I have two of them.
yeah, that movie's great.
Yeah.
That movie's out now.
It's excellent.
So, yeah, Dave Made a Maze, and then also I do this web series, On Your Mark.
On Your Mark.
Yeah, so.
Nice. What's it about?
It's a wrestling shoot
Get out.
series. Yeah, so
Is it shoot interviews?
yeah, it's shoot interviews.
Shoot?
But it's all you know, it's all a spoof of it all.
Gotcha.
So the backyard wrestling entertainment champion, Marky Extreme, talks with wrestlers and gets to the real dirt of everything. But even though he thinks he's on the same level as everybody else, but he's not.
Okay, I get where you're going with that.
So
yeah, I
know,
gotta check it out.
we've had a
how
lot
long
of-
is how long is each episode?
ranges from like 10 to 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
We just did some shooting in Slammiversary down at Impact and
Okay.
shot some more guys down there. So D'Angelo Williams will be on the show.
Cool, man.
yes. That was
So
Nice. So, but anyways, a little bit later on, let me just go make the rounds. What the hell? Next to Jimbo, we have Denise Salcedo.
Hi, guys.
Yeah, and over here, next to me, TK
Hey,
Trinidad.
how you doing?
Mark in the booth, Mark Donica.
Yeah, that's me. I'm in the booth, and my name
Sick
is Mark.
Sick boy.
I'm a sick little boy.
Not WCW sick boy, but
So, anyways, a little bit later on, we have a guy I've known for a long time, actually. We haven't been around each other a lot, but I'm cool with him. And his name's Kenny King, and a lot of people know him from Bachelorette, but you know we know him from ROH and you know Impact, and I knew him from having match with him in FIP. You've heard of that?
Full Impact Pro.
Yes, in Florida, which was kind of an offshoot of ROH. You know, Gabe Spolsky helped book that too, and it was basically all ROH guys, but under the FIP banner down in Florida. And yeah, I was in, you know, I think a 6-man or something with Kenny one time. And anyways, we're gonna be talking to him a little bit later, but today we're gonna talk about you know, Great Balls of Fire.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah. So it was. I enjoyed it.
I
You
thought
know.
it was good.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't. You know. I mean, it didn't blow me away. But you know, I don't know. What do y'all think? What did you think of it?
I enjoyed it too. Like it was a good show
Yeah.
overall. It's still the branding of it and you know the song and everything that happens. Were you ever involved in a show like that where they had a show where you go, why are we marketing it this way? Like what is the realm of it? Like of we're naming it after a song and we're doing
Sure.
all 50s retro stuff.
Yeah, that's Vince.
Yeah, is it
Yeah,
just
I just sent a tweet out. I'm like, right before the show started. I'm like, you know, as Vince, I'm like, we're gonna call the next pay-per-view Great Balls of Fire, and then everyone's like, oh, that's a good idea, boss. And that's what goes on, you know. They're all thinking, oh God, that sucks, and then they're like, oh yeah, that's great, boss.
So nobody ever tells him no.
Some do, yeah, some do, thankfully. So, but and I understand why, you know, you don't want to tell your boss his idea sucks.
Right. Yeah, I wasn't really too Yeah, the naming was kind of off. However,
I kind of thought it was funny though after I started thinking about it and saw the graphic with the 2 balls. Noticed there was only 2. Wondering what that was all about.
Do you think that was done on purpose or on accident by any chance?
There's no accidents. Come on.
I don't know. I was just like, thinking about it. Like,
No.
it's just too similar.
Anyway, before we get rolling into Great Balls of Fire, last night I ventured out. I don't go out that much anymore, but Steel Panther was in town. And so I went and saw them. And Enzo Amore came. And so we hung out with Enzo last night. Dennis Rodman came. Saw Paris Jackson last night.
Nice. Wow.
Jeremy Renner. How the hell do you pronounce it?
Jeremy
Yeah. Star-studded.
Show at the Steel Panther.
Yeah, man.
What's Rodman up to?
I don't know.
Hanging?
I was 10 feet away from him, and we worked together, and we've been on appearances together, and talked about doing other ones, and we never spoke one word to each other the whole time.
Oh, man.
That's just how he is.
Yeah?
Yeah, I don't care. I wasn't going to say nothing to him either.
You weren't like,
Could give
NWO
2
for
shits.
life.
Nope.
I think, do we want to get into Great Balls of Fire?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. I think for me, the craziest thing was thinking Alexa Bliss snapped her arm
Oh
in
my
half.
gosh, that was crazy.
I legit was freaking out on my couch. And my wife was like, "What's wrong?" I'm like, "Look at her arm! Look at her arm!" And then she just nailed her. I'm like, "Oh,
Yeah,
she could do
that's
that
good
the
stuff.
entire time."
No, but that was a really good match, though, between Alexa and Sasha. I was severely impressed, and I cannot wait to see them go at it again.
Severely impressed.
Yeah, that
That
was
wounded
awesome.
you.
Yeah.
That's how impressed you were.
But no, for me, though, I thought the show had its moments that I really loved, and then moments that I was just kind of like, ugh. I was a little bit sad, though, with the main event, because I was hoping that it did go a little bit longer. I would have liked to see Samoa Joe, kick out to more than not just get defeated with the F5. I would have liked to see him kick out of the first F5, maybe even a second one. But that was just my personal,
We can't have everybody kicking out of finishes. Look, I mean, yeah, there's huge matches like WrestleMania and matches like that where it's obviously like that wasn't his job that night, and I thought it was a hell of a match. I thought the story was told well. I thought Brock sold well, showed vulnerability, showed that that he was vulnerable, that you could get to him, and those Brock Lesnar matches are not going to be these matches. Like, okay, some people think a match has to be at least 20 minutes to be 4 stars or something. Like, no, just for the sake of having a long match, sometimes people have matches where the bottom of the crowd falls out, and it's almost impossible to get the crowd back when we do that. I mean, it's not impossible. I've seen it done, and I've done it, but man, you almost have to start from scratch when you lose the people. And that's the thing about the match, like whether it was the Goldberg match or this match with Joe, it was never dull. Everyone was always in it. Nobody ever went. I can go like, I didn't get distracted once the whole match. Like, let me go get something to drink, or, my eyes were on the thing the whole time, and I really loved the style that Brock Lesnar works. No high spots, tackle, drop down, duck this, duck that. I'm so sick of it, all of it. I wish more people would tighten up their work and not have all these high spots.
Yeah, it was awesome. I love the way it's.
I don't mean to put it that way, because it's not. Because you can do a high spot without hitting the ropes. That's not what it means, That's taken on a different definition. It used to just mean a high spot in the match, But anyways.
Like they're making, the Coquina Clutch mean everything in that match. It's got that MMA blend to it. It's got that feel where at any moment this match could end.
Yeah.
And that's why I love the ending so much, is that Brock is just almost out and then desperately catches Joe. And it worked. Just like in an MMA fight where someone's getting choked out, they reverse it. Matt Hughes and, was it Frank Trigg? That Hughes got poked in the eye, kicked in the balls, and then got the rear naked choke on him. And I was there for this one, and then he lifts him up, runs across the entire octagon, slams him, and then chokes him out with a rear naked choke.
I remember Trigg was guaranteeing he was going to take. Well, everyone, but I remember that. Yeah, specifically that match. It's funny you mentioned that.
And those things happen.
Yeah.
And so they played that so well in that story that he just got him. Smojo barely got him and walked away. Wasn't smiling, wasn't laughing, wasn't, he was hurt. And he knew that he barely escaped. So I thought that was great.
Yeah. Comedian Mike Lawrence, I was tweeting with him back and forth a little bit. And, he made a comment and he's like, because I was telling him, yeah, I'm excited about this match too. I haven't really looked forward to many matches as much as I'm looking forward to this one. And, Mike Lawrence said, imagine that, like a storyline based around like who's better than the other, what guy's better than the other, who's tougher. I love that. We don't have to add like, I'm banging your girl on the side or, behind your back or I stole, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
The build-up was really good.
Yeah.
I thought the one thing it was missing, but I understand how it started with Joe getting the attack on Brock from behind, but the stare down between the two of them could have been like Hogan, Rock at WrestleMania. Just the two of them, nose to nose, stare down. I hope we get that eventually. Maybe at, like you're saying, not this match because it wasn't the time, but at like a WrestleMania or at a SummerSlam, we'll get that.
Yeah.
Stare down, headbutt, smile. And like, oh, this is going to be good.
Yeah. So, but I'm just happy for Joe because he showed what's up and he was a very credible opponent for Brock. And sorry, there's just some guys that they used, up near the top that would not be at all credible in the ring against Brock.
Yeah. Even watching all the stuff to do research for Kenny King and seeing the Beatdown Clan and Impact and how Joe would go toe-to-toe with Bobby Lashley and Kurt Angle and all these guys is like, yeah, he is the credible opponent. That, like you're saying, who's the better man?
Yeah.
So.
And, what about the rest of the show?
What about that ambulance match and everything that went on with that?
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool. I love the way Braun was showcased during this match. I thought it was so funny during the how Roman Reigns speared himself into the ambulance. I couldn't stop laughing during that part, but everything that happened after that was just crazy. It was really fun to watch. As a fan, I was really excited to see like what's gonna happen. Like, is Braun still gonna be inside of the ambulance? Is he gonna come out the way he debuted when he came back to Raw? Like, Braun, like what is gonna happen here? And I thought it was really funny. I don't know what you guys thought about it.
So like last part when he backed the ambulance into that truck, and it's just kind of like you're on that moment like, okay, well, yeah, like you were saying, like, is he really in there? But then like there was like some overacting. It just felt like they kind of missed the ball on selling it to me. It just felt like, okay, this is like, I just felt like it was there, and then they kind of lost me on as far as, okay, clearly by the angles he's not in there and all this other stuff. So I don't know. That was just the only part, but the match was amazing.
Yeah, and I've heard like some people were complaining because didn't make sense unless it was a double turn. And was it a double turn? Well, we got to know if it was a double turn. Well, if it felt like a double turn to you, maybe it was a double turn. Why do you have to have something like official in writing? Oh yes, this was a double turn. I mean, come on, people. Just go with enjoy. And if it felt like a double turn to you, then cheer the guy you want to cheer.
Yeah.
And boo, or reverse the whatever.
They don't wear shirts now. It says, "Now I'm
right.
healed."
I don't have a white like
face.
What are you doing wearing that white hat? You're a bad guy.
Yeah, I thought it was really amazing for what it did for Braun. Like, Roman gets so much flack, and people get sick of him or whatever it was, but those two guys have amazing chemistry together, and everything that it did for Braun and all the moments afterwards of watching him try and walk on his own volition away, covered in blood, and everybody trying to stop him, and that's what you walk away with that match. Is just knowing who Braun is and how tough he is and what it solidifies him going forward. That you care, that it does so much for him.
Yeah.
What do you think about the situation they put Hawkins and Slater in?
It's fine.
Yeah?
Why? That's their job.
Okay.
That match would have either not happened at all or, would have been something like that. It's just, Kurt Hawkins, he knew. I mean, I heard him make comments about it and kind of joke about it.
Okay.
But that's just, hey, that's your spot. That would, I mean, when I first saw the match, I'm like, boy, it looks like they're just in the ring, like they would be, at the performance center just practicing or something. And there was no rhyme or reason. It was just, they were just filling time. That's all. And you don't want to get hurt. Like that's an awful time to get hurt when nobody's even watching. So
makes sense.
Yeah, and there's. What do you think of the Iron Man tag match?
I thought it was good.
Yeah.
I don't know if I like someone on one of the other after shows I was listening to. Maybe it was George Hermoso was saying he's not a fan of knowing when a match is going to end. And thinking about it that way, I was like, yeah, that's kind of right, because then it takes away the build of it could end at any moment. You knew it was going to go 30 minutes, but I really enjoyed the match. I loved the ending of it.
Yeah.
Too. I thought the ending was great. Swanton, and then Cesaro sneaks in for that last pin.
Yeah.
I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, had it not been for that ending, I think this would have been my least favorite match of the entire show. But the ending really did it for me, the last 5-7 minutes.
Why would it have been your least favorite match without the ending?
I think just for me, because I was expecting maybe a little bit more fast paced, even though I know that it has to last the full 30 minutes, of course. But it was just more exciting during the end, which obviously always happens. But in the beginning, I just found myself trying to, get into the match. You mentioned that earlier, where Brock and Samoa Joe, we were we didn't miss any second.
That's right.
So that's kind of the issue that I had.
So maybe there was some points in the match where you could have gone and got a.
Yeah,
water.
exactly, and I wouldn't have really missed that much. But obviously, I wouldn't have done that in the end.
I would have done it differently if it would have been my match to call. I didn't like the pinfall right off the bat with the boot and all that, because I mean, if it was any other match, no way they would get pinned that quick off of a boot or anything. I just. All of a sudden, because it's an Iron Man match, we can do 5 pins in a row, and it normally would take 20 minutes to get one. That's the part, I would have stretched it out before they got the first pinfall. It would have been 10 minutes or maybe longer, 12. It would have been a normal your average length match before the first pinfall, 12 minutes, something like that, and then gone from there.
But do you think they did the first pinfall to kind of hook you in to maybe expect that this is going to be an intensity match, whereas if it didn't hit in the first minute, you're figuring, okay, well, I can go and get some soda or something like that.
I have no idea what they were thinking, and there's different thoughts on that, obviously, because they're not, it happens often in matches like that, where, they'll just, Texas death matches used to be that way.
Right.
Well, you would keep on getting pinfalls, and then the guy would have to answer the bell. You know what I mean? That's how that went. And so Texas death matches, sometimes you would get falls real early, and I didn't like that either. Or elimination matches, like tag team eliminations.
Yeah,
like a Survivor Series type thing.
Get out right away, then you go, well, then they stink.
Come on, right? Yeah.
I guess that was my only nitpicky moment of that match was, play up the history of Sheamus winning at WrestleMania against Daniel Bryan in under 20 seconds with a bro kick because Daniel Bryan was distracted.
Yeah.
So play up that he's good at distracting people and then can knock you out with that boot in any second. Maybe just for the credibility of that.
Sure. And that's fine, but when you do it that quick, it kind of, once you go there, you can't. It's hard to go backwards and build the match. You're at this point, and there was no build up before it. That's what I'm getting at as far as the flow and everything like that.
Attack him backstage or something like that to weaken Matt, so maybe right away he gets.
Yeah, I don't know, but it was a hell of a match though. And what you guys think of Big Cass and Enzo?
I thought this promo was great, but then when he got destroyed, it just took away everything that he said.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was wondering how they got the rights to so much Frank Sinatra that he was basically singing the song. I was like, are they?
You can do that.
Yeah, they don't have to pay for that.
No, it's him singing it. It's not like they're playing Frank Sinatra singing it.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah.
It's like anything under 20 seconds too. But you said you were hanging out with him yesterday.
Yeah.
So did he say anything about the match or anything that?
That was just his job. That was his job that night, and I get it. I would have done it differently, but that's me, and I have a different. I'm a different kind of worker than
What would you have
Enzo
done
is.
different?
I just would have. I would have kept myself alive more throughout the match. All of Cass's big moves. You have to have, and I mentioned this on Twitter. You have to the key to wrestling a big guy like that when you're 200 pound or under is knowing very creative ways to get them to get themselves in trouble, to stop themselves. And the simple way of doing it is they shoot you into the corner and go charging, and you move and they hit the post or something like that. But there's so many different variations on how to stop somebody. All you have to do is use your head. Put your thinking cap on, and also I would when somebody's going to do a big move to me in the match, they got to work for it. They got to work for it, and so I build a little match around every big move actually to build up to it. So it's not just flat. Pop for the move and then back, the crowd's dead again. You got to keep them in it the whole time. And you can. Once you get the people, you can keep them in it the whole time. You don't have to let the bottom fall out. But
so what do you think is
very difficult.
What do you think is going to happen to Enzo now, like as far as his
I don't know.
possible storyline?
I've heard talk of like 205 stuff. My advice to him was don't do the 205 stuff. Stick, wrestle big guys. And
that's where the money is, right?
That's where the money is.
Is there no benefit at this point in time where he could have an entire show to himself? That if he's ruling 205 Live, if you tune in every week to see him talk, to see him wrestle, and that's his show, is there any benefit in this day and age for that?
How's the show?
You mean just 205 Live?
Yeah, in general.
I mean, it's good. If you like cruiserweight action, that's what it is. But it feels like it's missing something.
Yeah.
It's missing that element to keep you tuning in every week.
I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't totally rule it out, but if I was him, I would be wanting to do something besides 205. That's all. What else was on there? Miz and Dean Ambrose, which I thought was good, but I just thought it was,
Same thing.
Yeah, it was. There was nothing that stood out to me, except for just Miz is just a workhorse. What do you guys think?
I like seeing the new characters in the Miz Tourage. Like I like seeing
Sure.
I like seeing Axel and Bo Dallas do something different, being part of the crew, dressing different, having new characters. That's what it seemed like that match was there for, and it needs to happen for those guys.
And Bo Dallas is going to be something. He's going to make a mark at some point. Trust me. I saw him coming up in Florida, and he has it in him. They're just not tapping into the right thing yet with him. He definitely has it in him. He's actually a hell of a babyface.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
The FCW days?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I have not given up on him, or actually several people around there. They just got to hang in there. Curtis Axel too.
I love what they did, from the haircut to the suit. Everything they're doing with him is great.
Yeah.
So awesome.
And I got to be honest with you, I wasn't really into the Bray Wyatt and Seth Rollins match, and so I can't even comment on how good or bad it was.
I think maybe there wasn't enough of a great build to get people emotionally invested into caring for this match.
Yeah.
I think for me it was more like, okay, I hope they put on a good match, and that's all I can ask for, because as a viewer, I wasn't emotionally invested in either one of these guys.
Yeah.
I would have liked to see more of the play up of, remember when we wanted the Shield to face the Wyatt family? More of that would have been cool for me, but it was all right.
Okay. What about you guys?
They had said on the telecast that it was the second time as singles competitors they fought each other. But to me, it felt like 50. It felt like I had seen it so much, and it kind of like, with the Miz and Ambrose match, where it's I feel like, well, I've seen this a bunch of times, but it's different now. But I guess it was different, but it just didn't come across that way.
Do you know what match I felt like that about? And apparently what not the case at all was the AJ and Kevin Owens match. And they've never had matches, right? I don't know why I was like, oh, them again? Did they work somewhere else that I was not aware of?
I don't know if they ever worked on the indies, but their chemistry possibly. They just know each other so well that everything just flows. But I don't know.
Anyways. Well, you know what? I'm trying to be mindful lately, you know, on the time here. I mean, we can. There's been shows, and you know, sometimes it's every single minute of it has been captivating. But man, it's a 3-hour show sometimes, man. That's a lot to ask of people.
Too much.
Yeah. And like last week, you know, the Bucks on, and you know, all the stuff we talked about, we kept it to, you know, not much over an hour, and I got all kinds of thumbs up about that. So.
Well, you think our wrestling fans, they watch, you know, WWE, they watch everything else,
yes.
and they listen to the podcast. It's like, that's a part-time, it's not a full-time
job.
job. Yeah, it's a work week on top of, you know, life.
So everyone out there, like, I am trying to be very mindful that we only have so much time in the day, and we have to fit all our podcasts, all our TV shows, and every other damn thing we do. So we got to eat.
Well, before we move on to the interview and go to commercial, what are your thoughts on Austin Aries asking for his release?
Not happy, and the company wasn't in there. Apparently somebody in the company wasn't happy with him, and I'm not sure why. Maybe he rubbed somebody the wrong way. Who knows? I think that he had eyes on him, you know, before he even got there. He had a reputation, maybe. But I thought his work there was great.
Oh yeah.
What I saw, and you know, I know Vince at one point was liked him. I'm not sure whose bad side he got on, if he did even. I'm just speculating, and I talked to him, but he wasn't real. Like, he wasn't just telling me. He wasn't spilling his guts to me. And I've known Austin for a long time. He knows I'm a big fan of his, and all I can say is he did the right thing for himself, and you know, we can't. And for the you know, it was the right thing for everyone. Because you don't want somebody that's unhappy in the locker room.
So where do you think he should go from here?
Wherever he wants, and he can go just pretty much anywhere, because he's that good.
Yes.
Yeah. So I don't want to get into, you know, the political end of that whole thing. So.
Well, when you say he had eyes on him and a reputation before he got there, do you think that they were testing him by doing whatever they were doing to him to see if he played ball or not?
Maybe, I don't know. But I know, like, maybe I know he had some kind of an injury too.
Other than fracturing his face.
I don't know.
Nakamura.
I don't know. Yeah. So that might have been the one. You know.
Well, he's got his book and other things going on. So.
And well, I think we're gonna have him on the show soon. He was mentioning sometime in August.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. So, anything else?
Do you think it affects his relationship with Thea? Now that she
That's a weird thing, yeah. Like, because you want to be happy for her, and like, you know, the whole thing was like, okay, I'm here. Like, it would be great to get her here, and you know, and the whole time I was like, oh, don't worry, she'll end up there. And I was right, but you know, I didn't know he was going to be leaving. So you want to be happy for her. You know, she's getting a break. So I'm not sure what that's going to, you know, that's up to them how they handle that. You know, it can be weird though.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, well, we're going to take a break real quick, and we're going to come back with Kenny King.
Yep.
All right.
What's up, party people? Roxy Stryer here from The Tomorrow Show with Keven Undergaro. We're your twice-weekly broadcast of one man's midlife crisis and the mad millennials in Star Trek uniforms that follow him.
And I'm one of those millennials, Lauren Magrasso here. We've had some amazing guests like Russell Simmons, Ileana Douglas, and Craig Gass. Coolio, right?
Christian Blatt in the house to tell you to go to thetomorrowshow.com to check us out. We're live every Monday and Thursday from 10 to midnight Eastern. That's thetomorrowshow.com. Be there or be square, whatever that means.
Hey, we're back here on XPac 12360, and joining us right now is a guy I've known for a while. Actually been in the ring with a lot of people know him from The Bachelorette now, and you know, he's a mainstay at ROH and Impact, aka TNA, and just want to welcome to the show right now, Kenny King. Thanks for coming on, Kenny.
Yeah.
Yay! Hey, there's a clap. Thank you guys for having me, man.
Thank you. Hey, first I just want to, just want to ask how your mom's doing, man.
Mom is doing good, man. I really appreciate you asking me. Mom is actually like let's say as of March or May, the last week of May, there's no traces of cancer anywhere in her body.
Oh, hallelujah, man.
She's completely recovered from her chemo. She's as strong as I've seen her in a long time, man.
Nice.
So it's a blessing, thank God, and I really appreciate you asking.
Yeah, man, because I just, I remember when that happened, and just remember, like, I remember reaching out to you, and and you things seemed kind of bleak, man, and I'm so happy to hear that, man. So happy. I thought about that a lot, actually, over the months since and every time I would see or hear about you, I would think about your mother. So I'm so happy to hear that, man.
Yeah, she's doing great. She's doing great. She'll be happy to know that, there's just, and I told her, when I put that tweet out, and just so much, and I want to thank everybody, including you, Sean, but everybody that reached out to me, and everybody who just, all my friends in the business, and all my friends in general that just kind of, reached out to me and lifted me up. And I told her, like, you have a lot of people that's out there rooting for you. And she's a fighter, man. She's strong as hell.
And people, they can believe this or not, but when you have that many people sending that much positive energy your way, it works.
It does.
It works.
Really does. It changes your, you naturally, like, you want to be positive about things, but as a human and just how things go, you tend to always kind of look at, worst case scenario. But when you have so many people that are just sending you, like you said, that positive energy, and it's almost like you feel like you'd be betraying them to kind of want to, get back and sulking and whatnot. So you have to, if people are going out of their way to send you energy, then you kind of have a responsibility to live in that.
Yeah. Hey, so you said you're in, before we were talking right before we started rolling, and you're in San Francisco right now. What are you doing out there?
Well, I am.
Are you allowed to say?
Undisclosed. I'm an undisclosed location doing an undisclosed motion capture for an undisclosed video game.
So you're not necessarily in San Francisco even then.
No, it's I'm a little bit northwest, an undisclosed location.
Right on. Nice, man. Hey, I mean, there's a lot of things. I mean, and I have a room full of people here that have some questions for you too. But
I'm sure you do.
Yeah, man. But do you remember when we first met?
I do. It was in Florida.
Yeah.
It was actually the first time we worked a match for FIP. It was in either Melbourne or Lakeland.
Yeah, it was one. It was in Melbourne, actually. You're right. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. That was a very big night for me. I was like, yeah, man, I get to wrestle X-Pac. This is gonna be awesome. And I just remember just how cool you were, and just how much of a leader in that. Okay, don't worry about it. And you're just very. It kind of made me want to be similar in a situation where you're wrestling guy who's got a whole lot less experience than you are, and you just made it very easy and very comfortable for me.
Yeah, well,
I've never told you that. So
thank you, man. And here, you want to know my memory of that match is, and I didn't handle things. I got hot about, like, there was guys on the floor swinging chairs, and they were swinging them like pussies.
Yep.
And I felt bad because I got hot, and I'm like, this is how you swing a chair. And I think I broke Jason Rance's hand or something with a chair. And then I turn around, and you hit me with one. I'm like, that's how you throw a chair. You remember that?
I do remember. It was like there was a big feud we had. And I can remember watching you hit Jason with a chair, and I was like, well, shit, let me get mine in for you.
Yeah. Yeah, man, but I mean, even though there's like, a small crowd, man, we can't be like either swing it or don't pick it up. That's all.
That's it. Absolutely. Yeah. 100%. Even small crowds, big crowds, you have the same responsibility to create that same atmosphere, no matter who you're working in front of.
And that was like, I don't know, it was like 2008 or so. I'm not even sure what year that was, but you hadn't been to ROH or well, no, actually, if you were in FIP, you had started working with ROH too, right?
I I'd moved to Florida maybe about a year or so before that, like around 2006 6 or 7, like late 6, early 7. And I was, at that time, FIP was sort of like a feeder for ROH. So the guys, so they would bring in guys from ROH to FIP to work them with the guys and just see who can hang and who can go.
Sure.
So I was at that point kind of just starting to get noticed by Gabe enough to where he not too long after that match is when I got brought up to Detroit to do my very first ROH show.
Oh, right on. Where are you from originally?
Originally, I'm from New York. I was born and raised in Queens. I moved to Florida. I went to high school in Florida. I went to college, University of South Florida.
Tampa?
And yeah, Tampa.
Oh, nice. That's where I used to go there. I used to go to the Sundome for after and Championship Wrestling from Florida County. Did you ever watch that as a kid at all?
No, I didn't.
Well, they used to run at the Fort Hesterly Armory. That was like the big famous building, a lot of world title changes and everything. And then they moved from there and they ran every Tuesday at the Sundome. And that's where I saw some amazing stuff, man. And I won the WWF tag team titles there. So sweet.
Nice.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it was cool. I remember my dorms were right there, and you always look like the Sundome all the time. And then a couple of years ago, I finally got to wrestle there. TNA, we did a house show, or maybe it was TV, I can't remember, but we did, and we got to wrestle at the Sundome. So I finally got an opportunity to wrestle at the place because that's where all the football locker rooms were. So it was cool. That whole thing came full circle for me.
Hey, how was training with Al Snow and Chavo? Where'd you do that?
Tough Enough.
Oh, shit.
Tough Enough season 2.
Oh, wow. That's not where you trained. Was that your original training?
Yeah, that was it. That's how I broke in. Tough Enough. I was walking. I'd moved to Vegas to go to UNLV to kind of finish up my school and then finish playing ball. And I got the bug. I watched the first season, and the whole athletic competitiveness was like, man, those guys aren't even athletes. I know I could do that because I've always been a wrestling fan.
And man, okay, because not everyone that was a contestant and Tough Enough, most of them had some kind of experience prior to going there, didn't they, or no?
Not a thing, man. The first bump I ever took was the first one in a Tough Enough ring.
Wow, man, that's pretty impressive, man.
Well, thanks. I mean, that's kind of what it was just a strange thing for me because I really just wanted to be on MTV. I just wanted to be on MTV and see how cool it was to try to be in this wrestling thing. And then, Al really kind of looked at it as if he was like, listen, I'm molding you from start. You don't have any bad habits. You don't have any of this. You don't have any of that. So we're going to start you off on the right foot.
And he's right, too, man.
Amazing.
He's right because so many people, they start off either, training themselves in the backyard or going to somebody that doesn't know what they're doing. You know what I'm talking about. And,
I do.
And
yes,
then,
I do.
Yeah, and then you get in there with them, and they're just full of bad habits. And it's, man, once they're instilled in somebody, So, yeah, to get you fresh like that, to get you, and that makes sense, man, because you're really, your work's really tight. I really enjoyed working with you even back then, man. I wouldn't have had a clue that you were that an experience. So, wow. Hey, you guys want to jump in here?
Hey, Kenny, this is Denise. How are you?
Hi, Denise.
Good.
I'm good. How are you?
Awesome. Good. So I want to know, starting off in Tough Enough with no prior experience, was it a shock to you how much toll wrestling can actually take on the body?
Do you know, it wasn't so much a shock, physically, how much of a toll, because, I've been watching it since, WrestleMania 3, Demolition vs. Strikeforce. So, you can tell that there's obviously a physical toll. And I played football, and I know that anytime you slam dudes up against each other, there's things, there's things going to get broken and people are going to get hurt. I think the thing that blew my mind most about wrestling is just how much there is to it. And how much intricacies there are to it to actually do it well, and how long it takes to do it well, and how many things in a wrestling match there are to be paying attention to, and how much is actually going on. So the more that I learned, the more that I was like, wow, I had no idea that this was. And 15 years later, I'm still learning, and I'm still kind of coming to that point where, wow, there's so much more to do, and there's so much better that I could be if I could do this, this, and this. So just the fact that it's not just putting on spandex, taping up your wrists, and throwing each other around, there's a whole lot more to it.
You been hurt really bad at all, Ken?
Knock on wood, which is my head. Not too bad. I've got everything. 15, 16 years in the business. Everybody's got residual injuries. So I've got shoulders and knee issues and ankles. But I really, I'll be 36 next week. So for me at this stage in the game to keep going strong is about preventative medicine. So I'm big into yoga, stretching, and just trying to keep myself as flexible as possible, so that I don't run into that injury guy.
Sure, and I know it's about you that sticks out is you have a great body, but you're not overly bulky. You're not carrying a bunch of extra weight around. And when people do that, it doesn't matter whether it's lean body mass or fat. It's still extra weight on your joints and on your heart. And it hinders your flexibility. If you want to be super, super buff, you have to be super flexible too, because this is everything, your spine, your neck, your muscles, everything that we do is against what God intended you to do with your body. So if you're going to do that, and then on top of that be, inflexible, then you're just looking for something bad to happen.
All right, Kenny, TK here. Question. So how are you doing?
Good.
So as far as your portrayal on The Bachelorette, how did you feel after you watched the show?
For me, I feel like the biggest compliment that I've gotten so far and these are from people that know me, my friends and my family and people that are like close to me. The biggest compliment that I've gotten is that, when they say to me, well, when I watched you up there, I saw you. I didn't see any different. I felt like, it was you, same as hanging out here. So for me, I just wanted to portray the most authentic and genuine version of myself. It's a weird situation. It's completely out of anything I've ever done or anything that I'll probably ever do again. But I didn't want that to make me portray a different part of myself. I just wanted to be who I was, and if you like Kenny, you can love me or leave me alone. And I feel like, for the most part, they didn't set me up or put everywhere that I was portrayed is how I am and how I was doing. So
you were happy with
issues at all.
So you were happy with how? Because you and I know, like, just from being in TV business, how anyone could take our stuff and chop it up and make it look however they want. It's happened to me. So you were happy. And here's the thing: I'm assuming that you didn't give them much to use against you.
Right. That's the good point, Sean. Is for me it was less about let's go out here and be a certain way versus let's just not give them anything to hang you with. Above and beyond, overwhelmingly, obviously there are things that when I'm watching and I'm like, oh, it didn't happen that way, or that's a little, I don't remember it that way. But mostly I can't really complain. I feel as though they portrayed me and the situations that I was in pretty accurately. And
like you were saying, you portrayed the authentic you, and you also represented yourself and the wrestling industry fantastically, Kenny. Tremendously,
well, thank
man. Yeah, I just wanted to
I didn't want it to be stereotypical wrestler, be out there and be Mr. Meathead and
exactly.
And be that guy.
The meathead is exactly the word I was thinking of.
Because Sean, there's a small percentage of us that are like that, but the overwhelming majority of us are completely different than what we portray. It's just somebody we're being on TV. It's a character we're portraying.
Because you got and this, Kenny, because you're one of them. You have to be very intelligent to really be successful in this industry. And the meatheads are in our industry, but they're not usually like at the very top of the card.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You have to be able to use your head. You have to. This is a business that if you just think that you can look like $1 million and you got nothing upstairs, then you'll probably make someone else $1 million instead of yourself.
Hey Kenny, Jimbo here. How would you compare Tough Enough to The Bachelorette as far as competitions go, on reality TV competition-wise?
The funny thing is that I actually thought that I had a little idea of what to expect because I was on Tough Enough, and it's reality TV. It's completely different, but but it's similar. You know, it's a competition. You're going for WWE contract. You're trying to win this woman's heart. But that's where the similarities end. This was a completely different animal, 100%. There's no, you know, we're tough enough. We trained. We're at tracks at 8. We were at Optimum Fitness by 4. But after 5, 6 o'clock, you kind of had the day to do what you want to do. You want to go to the gym. You want to go to the grocery store. You want to go whatever. Right. On the weekends, we didn't train. We'd go out. And if you remember Tough Enough, you saw that we got in trouble when we did that. But we had, you know, at least enough rope to hang ourselves. The Bachelorette is very contained. There's lots of everything. Your sensory deprivation, everything deprivation. There's no music. There's just you're kept focused on the situation, and that's by design. They're very good at creating that atmosphere.
Are you sequestered? Are you sequestered from everything while you're doing that?
Yes, very much so. Yeah.
And so no cell phones.
Again, you're not allowed to do any of those things I said. So when you're not seeing Rachel, it's not like you be like, hey man, how about the 4 of us? We go to the beach or we go to this.
No watching TV. No watching TV. No getting on the laptop or the cell phone.
No
surfing
laptop,
the internet.
Cell phone. They take all that stuff.
Right.
They take all that stuff when you touch down.
So when you were talking to your daughter, they handed the cell phone to you. Was that all kind of planned in advance?
Well, that was one of the things that I was very adamant about. You know, if you guys want me to do this, I'm not going to try to be the special person because I'm the only one with a kid here, but I am going to need to talk to and interact with my daughter.
And she needs to talk to you.
What's that?
And more importantly, she needs to talk to her dad.
Exactly. So, you know, but there were some of the executive producers. One of them, his name is Bennett. He's phenomenal. He's got kids, and he was very, very, very instrumental in making sure every time I saw him, have you talked to Mackenzie? Have you talked to her? So they were very cool about it. I got a chance to, you know, FaceTime her once a week if we weren't traveling. But I mean, obviously, going from I've joint custody, so I've got her every other week. We're very, very, very tight. Obviously, everyone can tell. And I hadn't really ever been away from her for that period of time, since she was a baby.
How long were you away?
7 weeks.
7 weeks.
Wow.
Wow, man. And can I ask you how you were considered to be part of the Bachelorette?
The funny thing is, you know, people ask me that too. Like, well, where did you send your? I didn't send anything in. I got a phone call from an ABC producer. So, like, to back up a step, I have a friend who writes a Hollywood blog.
Okay.
And you know, he's pretty. You know, he's in the scene, and he just kind of brought the subject up to me. Hey, man, would you ever be interested in doing like the Bachelor and the Bachelorette and whatnot? And we just laughed. We were like, yeah, whatever. Like the wrestler Bachelor. So it was a joke, but I said, sure, whatever. I'm up for everything. I'll consider it. Crazy thing, 3 weeks later, I get a phone call from an ABC producer asking me the same question. So I'm a joker, you know me. I crack jokes. So my first response to that was, well, you know, I'm black, right? You know, he popped and we laughed about it. And he was like, yeah, that's kind of why I'm calling. And again, even then, as we're talking about it and we're trying to set up some time when I can come to LA and just talk to the producers, I still don't think this is happening.
Right.
Even after I went and talked to the producers, they sent me some paperwork, you know, fill this out and we can, you know, start the next step. I still don't think it's happening. And I actually was here in San Francisco at an undisclosed location in February when I got the phone call. And I was still like, what? You really? He's like, yeah, we want you to do it. Like, all right, well, cool. I guess this thing is actually happening.
Wow. And were you really interested at all in finding a significant other at that time?
I still am. Yeah, no, I really am. I mean, I'm 35. I'll be 36. My daughter's 10. I've been wrestling 16 years. I've been all over the world. I've had my fair share of fun. You know,
sure.
But as you get older, then you get see, like somebody like that. But you know, as you get older, I'm looking for. I'm looking for someone to build an empire with. So, and that's, you know, someone who on paper, that sounds like Rachel, you know, she's smart,
she seems very
very
nice,
classy, beautiful. She's got all those things that I'm looking for. So yeah, I mean, I definitely was not like, oh, I know I can go on a reality TV show and find my wife, but I was just open to whatever. If this was going to happen, I'm open to it. If not, I'm open to it. But it's going to be a good experience.
So after the show, how has your DMs been looking?
There's a small nuclear bomb that was set off in my DMs. It does go down in the DMs. Let's just say that.
Well, fill us in, about the DMs, because some of our listeners might not know what you're talking about, TK.
Boy. Okay, well, have you checked your DMs lately?
I checked my own,
What
yeah.
I'll say is this. I'll just say that there's lots of people around the country that were touched by by my story, and they like to see me on The Bachelorette, and then there's a lot of women that kind of feel like Rachel missed out, and they shoot their shots daily. So
nice.
I appreciate it.
So your DMs are open?
They're popping.
Yeah, my DMs are open.
So even if you don't follow them, they can DM you?
Yes.
Hear that, everyone?
So, are you interested in doing Bachelor in Paradise, or maybe being the Bachelor yourself now?
I didn't do Bachelor in Paradise. It just didn't work out with my schedule. They already filmed it. And as far as the Bachelor's concerned, I've gotten a lot of, which I didn't even think was going to happen, but I've gotten a lot of people on social media that seem to think that I would be fantastic as the next Bachelor, and I just feel like that's a bridge that we'll cross when we come to it, if and when we come to it.
Yeah, they definitely portrayed you. How they portrayed you, or how you portrayed yourself on the show, is really, really well done. So now, have you spoken to Rachel since? Because it's done airing. So have you spoken to Rachel since everything is? She's been kind of like.
No, I haven't spoken to Rachel.
So on the show, there's like 4 people left. Any idea who you think might be the one?
Oh, I know, but I can't tell you.
Well,
here's what I will say.
Is he a person of color?
Every one of those dudes in the final 4. I mean, we could even run it back to like the final 9. Everyone, once we got to, and even before that, with the exception of like Lee, the final 12, 15 guys, these are all like elite, top quality dudes. So if we're narrowing it even further than that to 9, and then when I got released to 6 and now to 4, every one of these dudes is top quality, A1, good dude. So whoever she picks, she's gonna be doing just fine. This was a situation where it's not like, she's gonna end up with this guy and she's gonna feel this way. I feel like anybody who she picks at this point has a capacity to make any woman happy because they're just good dudes.
Hey, Kenny, I know like you were talking about your daughter and how about her getting caught up in this. And what do you mean? What did you mean by that?
Well, we know what a work is, right?
Sure. Yeah.
We know
Okay.
How to stare work in the face and still play it like a shoot.
Right.
My 10-year-old daughter does not. So what I was worried about was that she already loved Rachel. And this is what I expressed to Rachel, was that if I bring you to my hometown and, my mother and my sister, one thing, but my daughter, there's going to be cameras and this is a thing. If it's not meant to be, she may have difficulty being able to separate that because she just thought, oh, they're there. I thought this was going to be this. And I'm just real big on keeping the emotional strain on my child from the things that I do at a bare minimum.
Yeah. And
so
were you worried about her maybe getting an emotional attachment to Rachel and and then things not working out?
Yeah,
that type
that's
of thing?
all I was worried about. Her getting emotionally attached to Rachel, her getting kind of her head set on this situation, and then if it doesn't happen, then what? And then how does she feel? It just, to me, if I was sure, either both way, on my part or on her, that she was sure about me, I would be more apt to dive right in and be like, look, it's going to be all right. We'll push through it. Sure. But I just wasn't sure, and it's not. And I don't gamble. I'm not going to gamble with my daughter's emotional well-being just to stay on a TV show.
The thing is like, okay, there's a lot of people that think they're sure about someone else in a way shorter amount of time than 7 weeks, especially like when you consider you were around her every day, right?
No, that's not how it works.
How did that work?
So it's basically, you only see her on dates. So if you have a date, you'd see her, if you have a group date or a one-on-one date, like that would be the time that you'd see her for the week. The only other time that you'd see her would be like at a cocktail party, the roast party. So if you didn't get a date, there's plenty of guys that didn't get dates all week. So you can go a whole week without seeing Rachel and only see Rachel for 10, 15 minutes at the cocktail party while you're trying to spit your best game to get a rose. So it's that's one of the other parts about it that's so mentally kind of draining is you don't have a lot of time, and you've got to do your best work. And every time you see her, like it only really just breaks down the moments. Every moment that you have with her, you have to make memorable. And if you don't, then chances are you're going to end up going home. So you just have to, because you don't have that much time with her, every chance you get, you got to shine.
Right.
Kenny, on those dates, were you given any sort of direction, for the show? And was there ever any time where you were hesitant of doing something?
For the dates, there was never any period of time that I experienced where I felt that they were trying to get us to do anything, because I really never felt like I was ever going to really be that person that if they were trying to goad me in a way that I wasn't going to go, I'm just not going. That's just not what I'm going to do. But, there was never a time where I felt like whatever happened. I felt like the producers did a good job of just setting the scene and just kind of letting the characters play out the scene. There was really never a time. I mean, there was things that I wish I would have done. Like I wish I would have went and played basketball in front of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and freaking mud wrestle in nasty ass mud in a bar. But there was nothing ever that I was like, oh no, I don't want to do this. And they were like, you have to do this.
Hey, what? So if you didn't get a date, what were you doing all day?
Kicking it, bro.
Just chilling?
Kick it.
With no TV,
house,
no nothing?
You're either at the hotel or the house. You try to stick to your, all right, I'm not going to start drinking until 7:30 tonight. Because, you only read so many books or be in, swing in the hammock or throw the football or work out. And then you look up and it's only 12:30.
How much is alcohol play into like the, as far as, as alcohol use and the show and how it affects it?
Well, I feel like this. I mean, in any situation where there's alcohol, there's as much alcohol, any kind, as much of it as you can drink ever, all the time. But it's not like, freshman year in college, spring break, Cancun, you're an adult.
Right.
So everybody's still kind of expected to behave like an adult. So yeah, you can get hammered sun up to sundown every day if you want to.
But now, like the Bachelor in Paradise rules, like they can only have a drink, 3 drinks, 2 drinks an hour, and you got to leave all your drugs. You got to give up. You know what I mean? Like, so
yeah. I mean that's
a different situation though.
Because those it's co-ed,
right.
and the situation under which that happened, they're unclear, murky details.
Right.
Obviously, it wasn't, whatever happened wasn't too, whatever happened wasn't too far to the left, or else it would have never started shooting it again.
Exactly.
So, but I feel like in that respect, like with us, it's just a bunch of dudes sitting around a house, and the worst thing that could happen is we get drunk and start fighting.
Sure. And that's why I was wondering.
Around is different.
That's why I was wondering about the alcohol, like, and if that played a part in any of the, friction with any of the other competitors.
Well, I will say that Jameson did play a little part in my
altercation with Lee,
verbal dressing down of Lee in Norway, in my creativity, in my final high spot on Lee in Norway. Jameson did play a small part in that, but that was just helping me find the proper words to tell him what I was thinking.
Now, has he reached out to you since then, since he claims he's like the Southern gentleman, Lee?
Oh, no, Lee, no.
I was really hoping you would beat his ass.
I don't foresee that. We've got the men tell-all coming up next week, and I feel that that'll probably be the last time I ever see or speak to Lee.
And do you really think much about him? I mean, does he take up much space in your and much free rent in your brain? I mean, after all that.
No, man, that was the thing. It was really starting to piss me off because so he interrupted me. I checked him. I yelled at him, and I was ready to move on. And then the shit followed me for like 3 weeks. Every other week, I'm ready to talk to Rachel. She's talking to me about Lee.
Right.
So it was so much less. It was more frustrating for me because I didn't care. I was like, yo, I didn't choke him, throw him through a window. I yelled at him. If I can't yell at a man if he crossed the line, then what am I even doing here?
Yeah, right. In our world, that's no big deal. It's okay. We had some words, and now hey, let's go have a drink. Or you want to be an asshole? Like, okay, we'll just stay away from me.
That's it. That's cool. Yeah, that's it. So for it to continue to be, I mean, it was crazy living through it, and then like watching it, I was almost like, I remember there was a period of time where the producers were kind of getting hot at me because every time they'd mention Lee, I'd go into this like an Allen Iverson practice rant. Like, practice? What are we talking about? We're not talking about the game. We're talking about practice.
Right.
Because we've been talking about this shit for weeks now. I don't want to talk about the game, the practice no more. So it was just so, and then going back and like watching it. It kind of even, like, I thought, I could care less. And then I realized that I cared less after watching it because I thought, with the whole situation, like, especially now when they go into his tweets and whatnot, he's a racist or whatnot. I will say this, like, being the subject and the target of it, it didn't feel like racism per se. Like, racism.
What, the aggressive comment, calling you aggressive?
Because he called me aggressive because I was yelling at him.
Right.
He was just being a dick. You know what I mean? But again, it didn't feel like he was. It just felt like he was a guy who was completely out of his league and knew it. There's 12, 13 dudes around that he was not in any one of these guys' class. So he just felt like he had to attach himself to make himself relevant. So then when I look back at it and I see that he was just doing this shit on purpose because he didn't have anything to do, well, that just means he's an asshole.
Sure.
And they were just doing it on purpose. So, that dude.
And I'm sure you figured that guy out because there's plenty of J. Browns like that in our business.
For sure, man. For sure. That's why I was getting so frustrated because I had already figured him out and was completely in the next town when they keep bringing me back into
exactly.
it. So.
Well, we could talk about the Bachelorette. You have.
Oh, no, just one more question touching base on that. What kind of responses did you get from people in the wrestling world, like wrestling buddies, wrestling fans? What did they say when either A, they found out you were going to be on The Bachelorette, or after they've already seen you on the show?
Well, the overwhelming majority of my friends in the business are pissed at me because of one or two reasons. A, their wives or girlfriends had made them watch The Bachelorette now when they never had any intention of doing it. And B, their wives and girlfriends have 8 million questions for me, and they're using them as a conduit. And I can't ask them any questions.
And Kenny,
you can ask them.
Kenny, one of them's probably, why can't you be more like Kenny?
Hey, listen, I don't want to get it bad at all. I don't want any parts of that. That was the main thing is people's girlfriends and wives just, hey, what about this? What about that? I'm like, man, would you please tell your lady I can't tell her anything because I'm not telling her.
Right. So something a little bit different from Bachelorette, something that's happening in your hometown. There's going to be a big fight between Mayweather and McGregor. Who do you have?
I mean,
if I was putting money on it, if I was putting money on it, if you had to put money on the fight.
If I had to put money on the fight, I would only put money on Conor because that's the only way that you're going to win money.
Exactly.
But if there's just no way that, this is lose-lose in either situation. That's why, when your work meter starts going off, your work alarm starts going off, you got to start looking at stuff. It's as fair or as even for Floyd Mayweather to box Conor McGregor as it is for Conor McGregor to invite Floyd Mayweather into the octagon.
Sure.
Conor's a boxer, sure, but he ain't in the same galaxy as Floyd Mayweather. So, and vice versa. You know, I'm sure Floyd can sort of fight, but he ain't in the same galaxy as Conor when it comes to mixed martial arts.
Do you see the press
conference? So now you
conference?
got to look at why are we doing this? We're doing this specifically, in my opinion, to get Floyd to 50-0. Because what the hell? What else after the Berto fight and the Pacquiao fight?
Right.
What other fight can we really promote that featuring Floyd Mayweather that's going to get people to do this? And look what they've been doing. They're the same dude, man. They've been cutting promos on each other and popping shit about each other forever. Just look at this.
Did you see the press conference they had from here at the Staples Center?
Yeah.
I've seen a little bit of it. I didn't get a chance to see most of it, but I saw Conor talking shit, and I saw Floyd doing his thing. It's you know, it's entertainment.
It seemed like Conor served him up. It seemed like he ate his lunch at the press. And you know, like I think that you know, this whole tax thing with Floyd, I think is messing with his head, because his whole thing, you know, when he does his shit talking, a lot of it centers around how rich he is and how much money he has. You know, and like
I'd agree with you.
Yeah, I don't
except here's where I would just disagree small. You got to look at you got to look at the times who Floyd's fought, and when he's needed to be a heel, and when he just needed to sit back and let the babyface be a babyface. Case in point, the Pacquiao fight.
Right.
Floyd didn't do a whole lot of shit talking the Pacquiao fight. He didn't do a whole lot of that flashy, ostentatious money Mayweather shit during the Pacquiao fight, because he was already the heel. Pacquiao was already the babyface. So all they needed to do was just let Pacquiao be the babyface, and Floyd was just going to be the heel anyway. I kind of feel like this is the same thing. You know, everybody at this point loves Conor. Floyd doesn't really need to talk much more shit for everybody to want to see, you know, Conor beat him up.
Yeah.
So all he really needs to do is just let Conor be Conor, and Conor's probably going to sell the fight on his own, because Conor's as good as being Floyd as Floyd is.
And he is doing really well at it. And
hell yeah, he is.
He's actually teasing, you know, hey, if Floyd doesn't show me respect out there, you know, maybe there'll be a forearm or an elbow across the eye or something like that accidentally. You know,
and you know that there's provisions in the contract to prevent against that shit.
Oh,
people
sure.
don't know that, so of course they're just riling people up.
Yeah,
it's great business. It's fantastic business, but you can't tell me Floyd Mayweather doesn't win on points. Right? I mean, like he always does.
Sure. Yeah. No, I just it's hard to. And we had Chael Sonnen on a couple of weeks ago, and he was just like, Floyd Mayweather has to absolutely destroy him. I mean, you know, there's just no two ways about it. It can't be any other way.
I agree with that, but you know, it's if he doesn't destroy him and he just outboxes him, then you just get that. The only surprise will be if Floyd goes out there and takes Conor's head off.
Yeah.
Anything else is just going to be, oh, this is exactly what we knew was going to happen.
Yeah. Hey, Kenny, what's going on in your wrestling career now?
Well, wrestling is good, man. I'm still under contract with Ring of Honor.
Okay.
So me personally, we just did a thing where my group, I was in a group called the Rebellion. We had to disband. So
yeah, I saw
now
that.
I'm solo, man. I'm focused on Kenny King. I'm focused on this a singles, you know, this singles thing that I got going on right now. I'm in the gym all the time. Because being a tag wrestler, going from being a tag wrestler to being a singles wrestler is very different.
Tell me about it.
But I'm focused.
I only do tag matches these days for that very reason, Ken.
Because you're smart, bro.
I'm old, man.
Well, that too.
but have you had? But have
I'm happy about that.
what I'm getting at is like, have you gotten back into the swing of things wrestling wise at all? Like I know you said you're just back in the gym so far.
No, I've been back actually wrestling with ROH since we did the War of the Worlds tour in first week of June. So June was my first show. I've probably worked about 4 shows since then. But those first 2 shows, after not taking bumps and wrestling for 7 weeks, was very interesting.
Is that the longest amount of time you had off in a while?
Yeah, that's the longest I've had off in maybe 4 or 5 years.
Wow. You know, Ric Flair, one of the things he used to say is time off is the wrestler's worst enemy.
For sure it is.
Yeah.
For sure. Your body starts feeling weird, and it doesn't really know how to take not bumping, but it's starting to get used to not bumping.
And those little aches and pains, they kind of get to be familiar friends to us in a way, man. It's weird. And then you feel weird when all of a sudden, hey, I don't hurt anymore.
Nothing hurts. You feel weird, but nothing hurts.
Yeah,
I used to tell my ex-girlfriend that. She's like, why are you complaining because nothing hurts? I'm like, I don't know. It's just weird. It's different.
Well, talking about Ring of Honor, your former manager from Ring of Honor, Austin Aries, just asked for his release from the WWE. Have you had any contact with him?
I haven't spoke to Aries since he asked for his release, but Aries and I are really good friends. We speak pretty regularly. What I say about that is Austin Aries is a guy who knows his worth.
That's right.
He knows he knows where he fits in the wrestling business, and he's not a guy who's a mark for himself or any three letters of any company that he works for. He wants to always be in the best possible situation for himself and the company. So, whatever that the specifics of that reason is, I guarantee you, it was just to do what was best for Austin Aries.
Yeah. I saw him a few weeks ago here, and it was before he asked for his release, and it was quite obvious that it was about to happen. It was the most unhappy I'd ever seen him ever, and I've seen him go through stuff at TNA where they were jerking him around back in the day. So I mean, yeah, man, he's that guy. He does not want. He knows, like you said, he knows his worth. And I'm a huge Austin Aries fan. Everyone that hears me talk about knows that. He doesn't want to be wasted. I don't want him. Selfishly as a wrestling fan, I'm still a huge wrestling fan, Kenny. I don't want to see him wasted. I want to see him in great matches with somebody somewhere while he still could do it.
Right, and I think that's what he wants too. I know that we all know how much we have left in the tank, and I think he's kind of maybe looking that in the mirror.
Yeah.
And realizing that, okay, if I only have this much left, I'm not trying to give this and only get this much or get this much out of it.
Yeah.
We're all taught, get the most out of everything you do. So
sure.
I'm happy for him because if he did that, then that means he did it to make himself happy. And
That's
as
right.
his friend, all I'm doing is supporting him.
Now, how long is your deal with ROH?
I signed a deal in January, so it's a year deal. It'll be up in January again.
They didn't try to get you for more than a year?
We talked about it, and it just didn't. It just didn't, materialize for one reason or the other. But it was definitely something in the works. I can probably foresee. Again, who knows what will happen between now and then? I'm very happy at Ring of Honor.
You don't seem like the only one that's very happy around there. What's the difference between that and Impact when you worked there?
Get my damn check on time, bro. Getting paid on time is a huge advantage and difference. But that, and also, the culture at ROH is, it's always been, we're just gonna blow this shit up.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter who's there, whether it's AJ or the Briscoes or Roddy or everybody. Just it's a team mentality, and everybody wants to put their best effort on each card to make each show the best. And I'm not saying that it wasn't like that at Impact, but it's very much like that at ROH.
And it seemed like everyone, when everyone's on the same page like that and everyone's moving in the same direction, that seems like the difference to me a lot of times. And like the maybe the Impact was a little bit more chaotic, and you have people pulling this way and that way, and I wanted their own little agendas, and the ROH environment, just from my experiences visiting, seems like just that environment that just and it seems like a more of a nurturing environment too, man.
It is. It's an environment where they encourage you to be as good as you can be and do the best you can do. So if you're having it doesn't matter whether you're wrestling Will Ferraro or you're wrestling Kushida or Okada, you are not ever encouraged to dial it back. Now, obviously, every match on the show has its place in every, you build a
Very-
card,
yeah,
but
right.
it's never a place where it's like, oh no, we only want to reserve the good matches for these couple of guys. They want everybody to show. The whole thing about Ring of Honor is it's always been, if you want to prove that you can wrestle, you're going to wrestle here. And the guys that can wrestle have wrestled there and proven it. So it's always been a place where steel sharpens steel in the wrestling business.
Nice. Hey, you heard from WWE at all? Any interest in going there?
We talked in December. I talked to Regal, and just a major problem for me is I can't move to Florida.
Gotcha.
That's just a big thing for me. Moving to Florida means that I have to relinquish custody of my little girl, and that's a tall order.
That's right.
So,
yeah, that's not worth it, man.
Not to me.
No, it's
really
not. It's not. And trust me, people will. They might think it's worth it, and they'll find out eventually it's not. It's not.
There's so many scenarios that could play out, with that. I could, for sure. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind that, I go to NXT and excel and be on the main roster and do all of these things that I know that I can do, that all my friends are doing. But then let's say 3-4 years later, I come back with a big sack full of money, but I've been gone for 75% of the year for 4 or 5 years.
That's right.
And now my relationship with my daughter is completely different, and there's not a dollar bill in this big sack of money that can fix broken relationships.
Yeah, amen to that, man. Amen to that. But I just think that you're going to eventually end up there. I mean, I just know it. I say that about so many people that come on the show.
That would be validation. That would be validation for my career. Even though it's not necessarily, I'm not seeking that validation.
Right.
Oh, I don't think that I'm anything if I don't get to WWE. But obviously, everybody who wrestles is seeking that validation ever so slightly. But it doesn't drive me or motivate me or keep me up at night. I know I've got the skill set. I know I've got what it takes to be there. And if it happens, it happens. It's not fantastic.
Hey, man, how about the Beatdown Clan?
How
Good
about
stuff,
it, man?
man.
This is the one thing that I miss the most out of everything that I've ever done in wrestling.
Yeah.
I wish that could have gotten to be what it was supposed to be.
Well,
go ahead,
Joe,
Jimbo.
Low-Key, and P is just...
Well, when Hernandez joined the Beatdown Clan but still was under contract for Lucha, TNA had to pull a bunch of stuff they'd already shot and aired with you, or shot with you guys that they couldn't air. How many storylines were you in that were affected by that, and what didn't we get to see that we should have?
It destroyed the group. It destroyed everything. All of those. It was 7 or 8 weeks of taping, which was, Bully was the commissioner, and we were pretty much had enough of asking, and we were taking stuff, and we were establishing Hernandez as our fourth in the group. Homicide was hurt, and he couldn't really fill in the way we wanted him to. Joe, obviously, a huge piece, was gone.
Yeah.
So we were just looking at filling that piece. You can't fill the hole that Joe leaves with anybody, but
Right.
obviously Hernandez and Homicide have the LAX thing, and it was a very good idea to bring Homicide or Hernandez in. But the Office, and it killed the group, because with what we had, if they took what we had done out, then basically all of us were absent for TV for 7 or 8 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So you might as well just set the group on fire, because there's no way to bring it back.
Do you think someone
And you
in the
also
office...
missed me hitting Bobby Lashley with a crossbody off the top of the cage, which I'm pretty pissed about, but whatever.
Do you think someone in the office should have taken responsibility instead of putting it all on MVP?
Oh, that's
Ah,
right.
Of course, man. Listen. Listen. This is the first time I've ever spoken about it, but I will speak out very candidly about it. How is that MVP's fault in any way, shape, or form? He's talent. He recommends a talent. It is, you've got all these lawyers and you've got all these people that work in Panda and the Office for this sort of thing. You mean to tell me nobody thought it would be a good idea to check? I mean, it's standard operating procedure nowadays in pro wrestling to see, hey, let me see your non-compete.
Yeah.
When's your deal? But when's your non-compete up? This is just how pro wrestling works in the 21st century. So how could you not ask to see a guy's non-compete when you know he just came from a place which is on television? Wow. So yeah, somebody in the office dropped the ball big time, and then they hung the blame on P. and that's just bad business.
Now, why do you think that was, man? Like, I mean, besides somebody else not wanting to, you know, own their own screw ups, like, was there something else going on there? They didn't like P for some reason.
I don't know. It didn't make any sense,
man.
Because it seemed as though they were finally going to, you know, whatever they said they were going to do with us was finally going to come to fruition. So it seemed as though, okay, our patience and our, you know, you have to put up with certain things, and our flexibility was starting to pay off.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, because somebody didn't cross an I, you know, cross the T or dot the I, the whole group is on fire.
Sure.
And then it's all of a sudden MVP's fault. And none of that makes any sense to me.
Because it's ridiculous, man.
Yeah.
Hey, I put a tweet out the other day talking about how great it is, how great wrestling is right now. You know, there's more wrestlers now are making a full-time living than any other time in wrestling since the territory days, you know, since the territories have died off, and it reminds me of like what you just said about, you know, maybe ending up in WWE being validation, but like there's a lot of great places to go in wrestling right now, so like that validation can be had in other ways, you know.
You're 100% correct. I mean, this is, since I broke in, I was just talking to Sanjay and Chris Sabin about this. This is the only time since I broke in that I can remember there being, like you said, a handful of different places to make a living.
Yep.
There was only 2 places before, you know.
Yep.
Now guys can be legit professional wrestlers in so many different places, and even though wrestling isn't experienced that mainstream resurgence the way that it has in the 90s, but it's really coming back, like the independent scene, and people are very much interested in different styles of wrestling other than WWE wrestling.
Yes.
So exactly what you said. I mean, for me, I want to wrestle at the Tokyo Dome. So wrestling at Wrestle Kingdom for New Japan would be almost as much validation as signing a WWE contract for me. So, you know, everybody has to kind of reevaluate their goals now and say, okay, is WWE the end-all, be-all? And if it's not, where can I go to make a living and still love what I'm doing?
Yeah. Man, hey, Kenny, there's anybody want to get anything else in before we let Kenny go? Because, I mean, you know, we've taken up a lot of your time as it is already.
It's all good, man. This has been a great talk.
Scott?
We don't get to talk enough, Sean.
I know, right? That's why, you know, that's what happens is I get my friends and that on here, and it's the only time I get to catch up with them. So,
right.
Sweet. But go ahead, Scott. I'm sorry.
Yeah, there was one, Kenny, you know, you talked about broken relationships a little bit ago, and, you know, one that's still ongoing. Has it gotten any better between you and Jim Cornette?
Fuck Jim Cornette.
You know,
I mean, it could be the best day of my life. I could fucking walk out and find $1 million in a briefcase, and I'd look at that $1 million and still say fuck Jim Cornette.
I forgot about that.
You know,
yeah.
I'm doing some research right now to see if Lee from The Bachelorette is Jim Cornette's son. You know, I'll check on that for you.
That's funny.
You know, they might as well be related. They hold the same place in my heart.
Wow. Yeah, I don't even want to touch that.
It says it all right there.
Yeah, there's not much
just
more.
Didn't know if it got better, you know.
Yeah, because I mean, like you know, we don't.
Mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, and we don't like I was talking about giving people free rent in our brains. And, like you don't want to, you don't want to do it.
Nah.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I said. I said what I said, and you know we can move on. It's not going to change.
Yeah, exactly.
It's going to continue.
Well,
but that doesn't mean that it just is what it is.
Well, you just said one of your goals is to go to New Japan and wrestle at the Tokyo Dome at Wrestle Kingdom. I also heard that one of your goals is to act alongside The Rock in a movie. Is that true?
That's a true statement, yeah.
What role would you like to play in movie would you like to do, or maybe remake a movie?
Here's what I want to do, and I swear if anybody steals my idea, I'm coming to get you. I want to make. I actually pitched this to Terry Crews, and we laughed about this. This was a couple years ago, but I feel like me and The Rock should make a movie called Swole Mates, where we're 2 guys that used to be either real skinny or real fat, and we got super jacked, and it's like Step Brothers in the gym, and we go over our our escapades. I mean, I don't want to talk too much because it's my story, but
don't give away.
I think Kenny King and The Rock in Swole Mates is everything that America needs right now.
I think you're right.
I love it.
Yeah.
I think you're right, man. Kenny, thank you so much for coming on. I'm so grateful, man, and thank you for representing the industry the way you have, and I hope to see you soon. Since you're in Vegas, man, I'm 4 hours away now. So
Ring of Honor has shows in Vegas in August, right?
September 22nd
September
and 23rd.
September pay-per-view. You can be my guest, Sean. You can let me know.
Thank you, Kenny. Thank you so much, man.
You got it.
And I hope you have an awesome day, man. And my best, my love to your mom.
Thank you guys for having me.
My love to your mom.
You guys. Thank you.
Thanks, Kenny.
Thanks.
All right.
That was awesome.
That was sweet. I always say that after we're done, right?
Because they're always so
say
good.
how great that was. Yeah, no, but
Super nice guy.
what do you say about that? So, should we take a break or are we done?
I think we're done.
I think
let's
wrap it up.
Mark, what's up, man? Are we done?
It's your call, boss.
Yeah, hey, let's do the obligatory closing, not arguments, but.
Well, this weekend, July 15th, Sean will be at Midwest All Pro.
That's
in
right.
South Dakota, you said?
Yes, in South Dakota.
You'll be signing.
How do you pronounce that? I can't pronounce that. Anyways, yeah.
You'll be signing with Scott Hall.
That's right.
So check out tickets at Midwest All Pro on Twitter. I'll have the information.
And then social media, follow us on AfterBuzz TV, Twitter, The Real XPac, IG, XPac12360. Can hit XPac on his DMs. Facebook, do 360 show. And as far as iTunes, 5 stars or better. Also leave your comments on YouTube, all that good stuff. And buy shirts at Pro Wrestling Tee at Sean Waltman.
Yeah, ProWrestlingTees.com/Sean Waltman. And go on there and buy some shirts. I need the money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got
legal
Lulu
bills,
dog bills to pay.
Yeah, dog food, doggy diapers.
Doggy dresses.
Yeah, all that stuff. So, anyways, hey, I love everybody out there, and I'm so grateful that you guys tune in every week. And we'll see y'all next week right here on I said that wrong. Right here on AfterBuzz TV, XPac12360.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Keven Undergaro, Phil Svitek, Sean Waltman, producers Jimbo Frank and TK Trinidad, managing producer of AfterBuzz TV Wrestling Mark Donica, and the entire XPac 12360 staff, we would like to thank you for tuning in. Like us on Facebook, rate and comment on iTunes and YouTube. Follow XPac on Twitter at TheRealXPac and email us at xpac12360show@gmail.com. This has been a presentation of the AfterBuzz TV Network. Buzz ya later!